making a lot of promises that cannot be fulfilled. For instance, he's saying it's going to bring back all these manufacturing jobs to the United States that have been lost. That's not true. Even when he imposed tariffs on steel coming into the United States during his first term, yes, there was an increase in some steel jobs in America in terms of the production, manufacturing of steel. But there were also a lot of jobs that were lost, and the net new jobs were just a few thousand people.
Donald Trump has threatened China with an additional tariff of 50% on goods imported into the US if it doesn't withdraw a countermeasure as global markets tumbled for a third day. But as China has vowed to fight till the end against the tariffs. Speaking yesterday, Trump continued to insist the American economy would be strengthened by his economic approach.
We are making tremendous progress with a lot of countries, and the countries that really took advantage of us are now saying, please negotiate. You know why? Because they're getting beaten badly because of what's happening. They're getting beaten badly. They're being devalued as countries. But it's the only chance we're going to have to reset the table on trade. And when we do, we're going to come out unbelievably well. We're going to have a strong country economically again. And we're going to have those factories that are empty all over the United States. We've lost 90,000 plants and factories.
We're going to come out unbelievably well. And unbelievably, of course, can mean two different things. Trump's senior White House counsel, Peter Navarro, told Fox News there won't be a recession. And he gave this message to worried investors.
Don't panic. They want you to sell. You can't take a loss until you sell. And what I see is 50,000 on the Dow. I predicted in 2016, the day after President got elected back then, when the dead futures were dead red down, I said, we're going to go to 25,000. I got that exactly right. We're going to 50, but more importantly, with the S&P 500, the gains we've had over the last couple of years have been basically 7 stocks, the Magnificent 7, the AIs. Most of the stocks in the S&P 500 have gone nowhere. Now they're going to go crazy. They're going to go so bullish.
Emma Tucker is the editor-in-chief of the Wall Street Journal. She told us what the mood was like on Wall Street at the end of yesterday.
I think the feeling at the end of day 3 now of this incredible market turbulence is one of unanswered questions. Where is this all heading? What is the impact of what's going to be on growth? Are we staring at a recession? How are consumers going to respond to all of this? At what point will people looking at their investment accounts get so spooked that they rein in their spending, which then obviously has a knock-on effect on the domestic economy? I know that overseas markets also took an absolute pasting yesterday. It didn't help that there were no signs of any sort of de-escalation of the trade war. Far from it. President Trump actually escalated the trade war, saying he planned to add an additional 50% tariff on China if China didn't withdraw its planned 34% retaliatory tariffs. So all in all, I think the feeling is one of where is this headed, what comes next, and who, if anyone, is going to speak out loudly and publicly against what's happening. Some of the CEOs yesterday broke ranks. Some of them, they'd been sort of keeping quiet. 1 or 2 did begin to speak out. We've got bank earnings at the end of the week as well. It'll be interesting to see what the chief execs say in their earnings calls. But meanwhile, the mood here is one of intense uncertainty and, I would say, mounting fears over what this trade war is going to do to what was an otherwise pretty healthy-looking economy.
That was Emma Tucker, the editor-in-chief of the Wall Street Journal. Well, in response to this onslaught, the Chinese Commerce Ministry said further tariffs from the US are a mistake on top of mistake. Let's speak to Gary Locke, a former US ambassador to China. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
I mean, is this a trade war between the US and China now? Is that how we should be looking at it?
Well, this is a trade war between the United States and countries all around the world. And in a trade war, there are no winners. The losers are all the consumers and all the workers on both sides of the controversy. Because when you have tariffs, let's say on foreign products coming into the United States, that means the wholesalers, the retail establishments, the manufacturers who purchase those things have to pay that extra cost, which they will then pass on to the consumers. And when the President Trump is talking about now another 50% tariff on top of the 54% tariffs that he's already imposed on China, that means the cost of that item coming in to the United States, whether it's a television set, whether it's appliances, clothes, shoes, will cost the American company that's bringing it in, whether it's Nordstrom, Home Depot, Costco, Target, Walmart, it will cost them twice as much. And they're just simply going to pass that on to the consumer, to all of us citizens, and that means less money in our pockets. At the same time, the other country is going to retaliate, as we've seen from China and Canada and many other countries. They're going to retaliate, which means that the price of American goods being sold in those countries will go up, which means fewer people and companies will buy those American products. And if there's lower sales of American products, that means you don't need as many workers, and that means higher unemployment. So all around, people are going to lose.
How likely, I mean, oh, I think we've got a bit of a sound issue there. How likely, in terms of the US and China specifically, is China to blink now, do you think? I mean, what calculation will they be making about Donald Trump's motives?
Well, China is a very proud country, and they don't want to be seen and viewed as capitulating to what they view as a bully. And and many other countries, of course, are bristling at what the United States has done and really feel that the United States is trying to blackmail them, trying to bully them into submission, and even saying, if you retaliate, we're going to launch even higher tariffs on you. It's almost as if someone were throwing a snowball at you and saying, if you dare to throw a snowball back at us, we're going to throw even more snowballs at you. You're not allowed to defend yourself. And that's how many countries are viewing this, for instance, Canada and China and many other places.
Does Donald Trump realize how dangerous this moment could be for America? Because he keeps talking about how there's going to be an amazing upside at the end of all this and it will be worth it. Do you think he realizes how precarious this moment is?
Well, first of all, he's making a lot of promises that cannot be fulfilled. For instance, he's saying it's going to bring back all these manufacturing jobs to the United States that have been lost. That's not true. Even when he imposed tariffs on steel coming into the United States during his first term, yes, there was an increase in some steel jobs in America in terms of the production, manufacturing of steel. But there were also a lot of jobs that were lost, and the net new jobs were just a few thousand people. There are so many products made elsewhere around the world that will never come back to the United States. That will, unless Americans are willing to pay 10 times or 5 times the cost without paying, and that's just not going to happen.
And I mean, that's particularly a risk in the tech sector. We've seen some of those tech bosses losing billions of pounds off of the valuation of their companies. I suppose, is there a danger here for Donald Trump that those who are closest to him are those who stand to lose the most? Might they now be saying, look, come on, we need to reverse here?
Well, it really depends on what the objectives are, what the administration's objectives are. Are they trying to raise money through the tariffs to offset the loss of money when they extend tax cuts to the very wealthy? Are they trying to bring back manufacturing? Because let's say if they are successful in bringing back manufacturing and they reduce the tariffs, then there's not income into the United States Treasury to offset the loss of money from giving out the tax cuts. If other countries lower their tariffs dramatically and America then lowers its tariffs, then you're also losing money that the president says he wants to use to pay for the tax cuts. And he also says that it's more than just tariffs. It's the trade surplus or deficits between the countries and the United States. He's insisting on parity, that the amount that we sell to, let's say, Vietnam must also buy from America. Well, that really doesn't make much sense because we can sell a lot to, let's say, Vietnam, and Vietnam doesn't buy from us, but another country buys from us. And so actually the amount of money that we're sending out is equal to the amount of money that we're bringing in, but from different countries. And so why is he so fixated on each country being at parity?
Do you think finally that the America's reputation can be repaired after this? I mean, there's obviously a breakdown between China and the US, and I know that Donald Trump has some very specific feelings about China. He's not a fan of China more generally. But do you think the American reputation can be repaired, or do you think this has done some serious damage?
Well, I think it's a host of actions by the administration has damaged the reputation, the word, the reliability of America. Look at the conflict in Ukraine. Suddenly the president saying, well, we don't really support that, and we may just let Ukraine go on its own. We're not going to supply weapons. He's indicating even on Taiwan that we may not defend Taiwan. So there are many countries around the world who are saying, can they rely on America? Is America's word any good anymore? And certainly when we're trying to develop closer relations with many countries around the world, we're suddenly throwing them or slapping 50% tariffs on them. Vietnam and parts of Southeast Asia, South Korea, Japan, some of our closest allies. Why would they trust us anymore?
Gary Locke, former US ambassador to China, many thanks for your time.
My pleasure.